So the Klein-Gordon equation is 1 over c squared, 2 derivatives in the wave function in time minus del squared psi plus m squared c squared over h bar squared, psi equals 0. And for the complex conjugate of this, let's write 1 over c squared, 2 derivatives psi star in time minus del squared psi star plus m squared c squared h bar squared psi star equals 0. Let's write, we'll do the same thing we did before. We'll multiply this by psi star and this one by psi. So this one becomes 1 over c squared psi star, 2 derivatives in psi minus psi star del squared psi plus m squared c squared h bar squared psi star psi, and that has to equal to 0. Same thing for the other one, so we get 1 over c squared psi, 2 derivatives in psi star minus psi del squared of psi star plus this last term with both psi and psi star, that is equal to 0. So now we'll subtract one from the other. So let's subtract one from the other, and we'll get 1 over c squared. We have a psi star, 2 derivatives in psi in time minus psi, 2 derivatives in psi star in time plus psi del squared psi star minus psi star del squared psi. That has to equal to 0. We got rid of this term in the subtraction. And we have 1 over c squared. So let's write this as one-time derivative, right? We're looking for the analog of the same thing we did in the previous video. So in terms of one-time derivative, this thing in here is now going to be the probability density in the relativistic regime. So that has to be psi star d psi by dt minus psi d psi star by dt. And then the next term will be the analog of what it was in the Schrodinger equation, plus we'll have the divergence term. Here we have psi del squared psi star minus psi star del squared psi. This is equal to 0. Let's write this as a divergence as we did before. So we have 1 over c squared d by dt psi star plus whatever, minus divergence of psi star del psi plus what am I doing here? I'm in a mess here. Well, I'm doing this one. Psi star. I already had this on this side, but so this is a minus sign. If I did that right. this one's minus, so this one now I have psi del psi star, and that's equal to 0. And so the point is that psi star is replaced by this term. Well, we really should be a little bit more careful. It's really I h bar over 2m times psi star d psi by dt minus psi d psi star by dt. And so this quantity in here is the analog of the probability density for the Klein-Gordon equation.